Hello boys and girls, Lord Hawkeye here again, and welcome again to Mindcraft, where we seek higher understanding of the gaming world at large. They often say that a hero can only be as good as their villain, and if that's true, then it really dismays me to see games that can't seem to pull off good villains correctly, especially when it's games made by people like BioWare who ought to know better. This is something I neglected to mention in my assessment of the Old Republic, and that is the fact that I simply cannot take the Sith seriously as antagonists, because they fall into a trap that I like to call being too evil to be evil. The Sith are a population that I don't believe for a second could ever actually achieve space travel technology. Their plans are frequently completely devoid of any logic or foresight. They waste absurd amounts of money, of time and resources on little more than senseless destruction that serves no practical purpose. They bring in completely insane psychopaths for important jobs and then act surprised when it all goes astray. This is made even worse by the fact that nobody ever calls them out on this, not even the Jedi, opting instead for trite greeting card lectures that really makes them come off as limp and ineffectual philosophers, which really disappoints me. Now these things would all work fine if they were played ironically, such as for a more comical villain like those you see in children's cartoon shows, but no. The fact that nobody ever mocks their childish antics shows that the Star Wars galaxy at large actually takes the Sith seriously, which only makes me wonder if anyone in this setting really has a grip on the nature of good and evil. But fear not, for the Lord has come to explain things in no complicated terms so that there shall be no more confusion. The nature of good is simple, that consistency in one's actions is preferable and thus the golden rule is validated. The nature of evil is equally simple, that the ends justify the means. A rule that evil people, of course, only apply to themselves and not to the world around them, which is why it ultimately fails. Now, I've watched Jesse Cox play as a Sith Inquisitor, and the moral choices show a complete misunderstanding of these simple rules, as most of the evil choices he makes are what many would call comically evil. His actions make no sense, nor does the fact that the Imperial officers continue to trust and respect him despite being completely off his rocker by any realistic standard. In fact, if anything, Dark Jedi-type characters seem to fit the proper definition of evil better, since most of the evil options for Jedi do actually follow the ends justify the means reasoning. They're still immoral, but at least one can understand the reason why a person might choose these actions. This makes Dark Jedi much more interesting and relatable characters than a Sith who's just going around killing people because murder is awesome. In short, evil people never see themselves as evil. They always have some rationalization for their behavior. As flawed as it might be, it still needs to be there for the character to be believable. Sure, there are villains who do actually act purely for the sake of senseless destruction, like, say, the Joker. But what needs to be understood is, the Joker is actually legitimately insane. So while his motivations make no sense to us, they make perfect sense to him and that's all he needs. Villains like the Sith don't have that excuse, because while as twisted as they might be, they are still quite sane and capable of rational thought. Villains need motivation just as much as heroes do in order to be interesting. Even the old gods, the primal source of evil in Azeroth in World of Warcraft, even they have motivation. They despise the Titans for dethroning them and they seek to destroy their creations as an act of revenge or maybe just envy. It's a simple motivation, but it does give them reason to act the way they do. And that's all I have to say about that. Until next time, be aware and be wise.